The cafe was crowded that evening, filled with the hum of conversation, the clinking of cups, and the faint aroma of roasted beans. It wasn't the kind of place where anyone expected drama, it was the kind of place where students came to study, couples whispered in corners, and tired professionals sought a quiet refuge after a long day. But sometimes, the most unforgettable stories unfold in the most ordinary of places. Maya stood behind the counter, a towel slung over her shoulder, her hair tied back, and her smile warm but a little weary. She had been working a double shift that day, and her feet ached from running back and forth. But she never let her exhaustion show. She loved people, and she loved her work. To her, every customer deserved kindness, because she knew, better than anyone, that people were fighting battles unseen. That was when he walked in. The doors swung open with a gust of cold air, and a man stepped inside. Tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in a tailored suit that looked impossibly expensive, he carried himself like the world itself should bow at his feet. He had sharp features, dark eyes that scanned the cafe with an air of disdain, and a presence that immediately drew attention. Conversations quieted for a moment, people glancing his way with curiosity. Maya straightened instinctively. She had served wealthy customers before, but this man radiated arrogance. He walked to the counter with slow, deliberate steps, as though he were inspecting the room to see if it was worthy of his presence. "I need a table. Somewhere quiet. Away from noise," he said in a low voice, his accent thick and unmistakably Middle Eastern. He didn't even look at Maya as he spoke, his eyes flicking around the cafe. Maya offered her usual smile. "Of course, sir. Right this way." She led him to a corner table, but before she could set down the menu, his voice cut sharply through the air. "You." "Waitress," he said, finally looking at her. His gaze lingered on her simple uniform, her tired but polite demeanor. His lips curled into the faintest sneer. "Tell me, do you even understand what I am saying properly? Or should I speak slowly for you? You look," he paused, eyeing her as if she were beneath him. "Uneducated." The words hit her like a slap. A few nearby customers glanced up, uncomfortable at his tone, but no one spoke. Maya's chest tightened, but she drew in a breath. She had faced rudeness before, entitled customers who thought kindness equaled weakness. She usually ignored it, swallowed it, and moved on. But something about this man, the way he carried himself as if the world revolved around him, lit a fire deep inside her. And that was when she spoke. In perfect, fluent Arabic, smooth and confident, her words flowing with grace, she answered him. "I understand you just fine. Perhaps better than you understand yourself. And for your information, sir, I am not uneducated. But I can see that money has bought you suits and pride, not manners." The cafe went silent. The man froze, his dark eyes widening in shock. For a moment, his mask of superiority slipped, replaced with something raw and unexpected, humiliation. He opened his mouth, but no words came. Maya stood tall, her chin lifted, her heart pounding, but her voice steady. She wasn't just defending herself, she was defending every waiter, waitress, and worker who had ever been belittled for doing an honest job. For the first time, the arrogant man seemed to see her as a human being. His name, as she would later learn, was Sheikh Zayed al-Karim, heir to a powerful family fortune in the Middle East. He was used to respect, to obedience, to having doors opened at his command. But no one had ever spoken to him like this. No one had dared. And yet, something about Maya's words stayed with him. Over the following weeks, Sheikh Zayed returned to the cafe. At first, Maya assumed it was arrogance again, that he wanted to show her he was not shaken. But each time he came, something in him seemed different. His tone softened, his eyes lingered on her with something that wasn't disdain anymore, but curiosity. Slowly, conversations sparked between them. He asked her about her life, her dreams, and she learned that beneath the layers of pride, there was a man carrying wounds of his own. Zayed had grown up in a world where wealth defined worth, where strength was mistaken for arrogance, and vulnerability was seen as weakness. His pride was his armor, but Maya's words had pierced straight through it. For the first time in his life, he felt human. Yet, the challenges were not simple. His family disapproved when they learned he was spending time with a waitress in a small Western cafe. They reminded him of his status, his responsibility, and the expectations of his lineage. Maya, too, faced whispers from her coworkers and friends, warning her not to get caught in the games of a rich man who could never truly understand her struggles. But they both faced the storm, because something stronger than pride had begun to grow between them. It wasn't easy. Zayed had to confront his arrogance, to unlearn the belief that people were defined by wealth or title. Maya had to overcome her fear of being hurt, of being just another fleeting interest in the life of a powerful man. Together, they argued, they challenged each other, and they learned. In time, respect blossomed into admiration. Admiration grew into trust. And trust, into love. One evening, months after that first heated encounter, Zayed walked into the same cafe. The air was warm, the same hum of voices filled the room, but this time, his expression was different. He wasn't the arrogant man who had insulted a waitress. He was a man transformed by the courage of a woman who had dared to speak truth to him. He found Maya wiping down the counter, just as she had the first day they met. But this time, he bowed his head and said softly, in Arabic, "Forgive me. You taught me something no one else ever could. You taught me that true worth is not in money, but in humility. And for that, I will always be grateful." Maya smiled, her heart swelling with something that was no longer anger, but deep, abiding love. "And you taught me," she replied, "that even the proudest hearts can change." Their story was not about wealth or titles, not about status or pride. It was about two people from different worlds who discovered that kindness, respect, and courage can bridge any divide. And as their journey continued, they carried with them the powerful reminder that one voice, spoken with truth and dignity, can change even the coldest heart. Friends, if you enjoyed this story, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What part of Maya and Sheikh Zayed's journey inspired you the most? Share your feelings in the comments, I read every single one. And if this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Be kind always for more stories that inspire compassion and courage. Because at the end of the day, no matter where we come from, the greatest power we have is the power to be kind.